Hello, it's Crafty Rhea. Today we're going to be recycling some more Christmas cards. First of all, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I really appreciate you stopping by and I hope you'll stick around. If you're returning, thank you for returning. If you haven't yet subscribed, please click that subscribe button down at the bottom. I would really appreciate it. I want to tell you something a little exciting before we get started. I started a Facebook group called Create with Crafty Rhea. So if you go onto Facebook, you can search for that, or I will put a link in the description below. Just go ahead and request to join. Tell me you heard about me on my video or whatever, and I will approve you and we can have some fun together. We can share our crafts together. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the cards that I'm going to use today. The other day in my Goodwill haul, I found this box of cards at the Goodwill. It was half price day. Goodwill had them for $1.99. I got them for $1. Big Lots had them for $10. This was a brand new pack. It's Hallmark. And there were 12 cards and 13 envelopes in the box. So I thought that was a really good deal. I thought I could really use them and do some cool things with them because I love glitter. And as you can tell, they're very glittery. So I'm going to set this box to the side. This is what the card looks like out of the box. And it fits in this envelope from Hallmark. They're beautiful envelopes. They're foil lined. And it fits in the envelope like that. So when your recipient gets the card, it says to press down. And they press down and it sort of kind of stands up. It's hard to see it on camera, but it's supposed to stand up and look like that. They don't stand up so well, so I thought I would cut them apart and do something else with them. You can open them up and then there's the inside. So it's got a really pretty sentiment. And it has this pretty piece inside with this embossed gold star. So I thought I could do a lot with these cards. So what I have to do first is go ahead and take apart one of the cards. So I have this piece, this frame by itself. So let's go ahead and take apart one of the cards and I'll show you how I did that. I'm not going to take apart the other card. I'm going to do something different with it. But first of all, I'm going to go ahead and take this apart. And if I open it up in the back here, it has this little flap. And I think I can remove this flap pretty easily. I'm going to use my bone folder and just kind of work it under this little piece. If I can. There we go. Let me move that out of the way. Work it up under here and just to get the glue loose on that paper. I don't really want to ruin that star. Okay, so then I can take this out and then just pull that through. There we go. So then I have my card and then I can go ahead and cut it apart. I'm going to start by just cutting it here and here on that green part because to me that's the most important part right now. The green does go on the other end of the fold, so I just want to cut right next to that fold. I'm going to leave the folded piece on the back, but then this gives me just a clean edge. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. There, so then I have that clean frame. And then I have this star that I could save and use for another project. And then I have the backing that I could cut out and use for the inside of the card. I shouldn't say the backing, the sentiment from the inside of the original card I'm going to use on the inside of the card that I'm making. That way it doesn't go to waste. The other day I dropped this paper cut on the floor and this piece fell off. I thought I broke it. I was so scared. There we go. So we have that for the inside of the card. Alright, so I went through my stash and I found some cards that would look good with this as a frame around them. These are just used Christmas cards that I had received in the mail or that someone had saved for me. So I thought that looked kind of pretty. And I absolutely love that. I think that looks really good in there. And we have these skaters, and there's a funny mark on this card, like something had gotten spilled on it, like it had gotten wet. So I can use part of it all the way to the right and use those skaters in there. This here I thought looked really pretty inside of it. Even something like this church would look pretty in a card. And there was this. This was a sample front I got from that company. I don't know if they still give out samples, but it's www.cardshopnwf.org. I'll have to check them out and see if they're still sending out samples. But I thought one bird would look pretty, and then that bird would look pretty. So those are just some ideas that you can use. Go through your stuff. If you have any kind of a card that has a frame, you could work with them. So I'm going to start off with, I think I'm going to use these 3 and make some cards. I have some card backs out. I have a 5x7 card back, and I have an A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base. So I have those ready, and I'm going to use those, get myself together here, with these 2 frames. But I'm also going to make one where I can keep this. I can kind of keep half of the card together, so I don't have to use an extra card base. And I'll show you one that I had already done. I went ahead, I had 2 of those cards. I went ahead and used that, and I kind of just left it together, and I think that looks really cute. And that way that saves paper, and I don't have to use a card base. So I'll show you how I do that one, since that's the simplest one right now. What you'll want to make sure of is that the inside of your card here doesn't have any writing on it. So what I will do for this, I'm just going to cut this off like that. Just cut that piece off so I could take it out easily. And I'm going to just cut the bottom part of this because I want that back to be left on there. So I will put it in my paper trimmer. I want to cut as close to that fold line as I can. And again, I'll set this aside for another project. So there, I have the base of the card already. And I don't mind that this little piece is there. I don't think anybody else is going to mind either. After all, they're getting a beautiful card handmade by you, so I don't think they'll complain. So what I will do is I will cut this card in half. Just to get rid of the back. And that one did not have a sentiment in it, so I just threw the back of that one away. So I want to measure this card based on here so I know how to cut it out. I want the birds to be kind of in the center of my frame. And I'm not going to have to cut anything off of the sides or this side, but I will have to cut a piece off the top. But I also want to mark on here where I'm going to need this piece. So I'm just going to take my little pencil and just put a little mark right there on the bottom, because that's where I want the bottom lined up. That's going to help me later. I'm going to come up here to the top and make a mark on this card right where, kind of where the fold is, so I know where to cut that piece. And I will put it in my paper trimmer and just cut that piece. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not really rocket science. I'm going to erase my pencil mark off of this. I'm going to line it up on here again just to make sure it's good. I have to be really careful not to have it over to the left or the right. It's going to have to be perfect on there because this border will show otherwise. So what I think I'm going to do, well, I want to show you one thing I did on this other card. I used foam tape and raised this top up off of that. I don't know if you can see, but I don't think it really gave the card enough dimension, so I'm not going to use the foam tape on the other one. I'm just going to adhere it down flat. If I had little dots handy, I might put little foam dots on the back of the little scrolls, but I'm not even going to worry about that so much. So I get this lined up perfectly. I have to be really careful. I'm going to go ahead and take this is just a little piece of painter's tape. You can use washi tape, something that will come off really easy. I'm just going to set it on there so the sticky side is up. And I'm going to put it on here and just maneuver it to where I want it exactly. And I'm going to push that down on the back. And then I'm going to kind of just line it up a little bit on there. See if it lines up pretty good. Make sure it's still okay. I liked it the other way better. Okay, let's see. I'm going to have to take it off and line it up again. It's a little hard with the sides. I don't want those sides to be showing. All right, that's how it's going to have to be. It does not look too bad on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip that back just out of the way for a second. I'm going to leave that tape on there as a hinge. I'm going to get my handy dandy tape runner, and I'm just going to run some tape right along the edge of this window. I'm going to try to run an edge of tape in a square or a rectangle around the edge of the card. That way the whole edge of the card sticks down as well. And then I'm going to take and just flip my card back on its hinge and just stick it down. And there you should have a really good center card. You can use that type of hinge anytime you need to line something up. Get rid of my pencil mark. I didn't need that after all. There. So the hard part of this card is done. So I have the birds in the frame, and then there's that. I want to add something to the front of the card. I added some of these little flowers to the bottom of that. I could do that as well. I have a couple other things. I have some holly. But I think the holly is going to blend too much in. It almost matches the backing of that perfectly. So I don't think I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with two of these flowers. These flowers are Jolie's Boutique. I got them at scrapbook deals. The person who sold them to me got them from Marshall's, and they're dated 2013, so I don't know that these would be available anymore. But if you haven't yet, go to Facebook, type in scrapbook deals. I'll see if I remember, I will put the link below. There's a bunch of people there. It's a really cool Facebook group, and everybody sells their stuff from their stash. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff from there, and they're usually reasonably priced. There, so we have that. That card is done. Real simple, real easy, real pretty. All right. And what I think I would do on the back of these, since they say Hallmark, I might just write better than Hallmark and then put right underneath it by Crafteria. Something like that, just kind of as a joke. Because I took Hallmark and I made it better. Alright, so my next card, I'm going to make an A2 size card. Gotta get all my goodies out. My desk just outside of the camera view is pretty messy, but we won't tell anybody. That'll be our secret. Please don't tell anybody. All right, I have that and that. I feel like I'm missing something. No, I guess I have what I need. All right, so I'm going to make an A2 size card with this and with this. So this doesn't quite fit on the A2 size card. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to have to cut it down. I have to see how much I need to take off each edge. Probably about 1/4 of an inch off each edge. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in my trimmer, and I will trim a little bit off that side. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it right now. And I want to get the other side to be about the same. Bring it back to my A2 size card and see where I'm at. It seems like I still have a lot more to go. All right, I'm going to have to cut it a little closer to that gold piece. I'm trying to be quiet with my paper cutter because it's so loud. But it doesn't work so well if I'm quiet with it. Just have to give it the business. All right, I'm going to cut a sliver off this side. All right. There, we have that. And it fits, and it gives it just a tiny bit of a white border all the way around. So then we have this card, and what I'll go ahead and do is cut the front off of this card. I wouldn't want to use this card to make like the other one because there's writing on the other side. So I have to do something and make it look like it's meant to be. So I have to decide on here where I want to put my frame. I don't want this green to show. So I'm actually going to cut that piece of green off just so it doesn't, or at least most of the green off. I think I will cut it right to the edge. There we go. All right, I think I'll have it something like that. So that means that's going to be close to the top. And then I need to make a mark where I want to cut that side. There. I think that looks pretty good. It's going to be even with the top and just a little bit of even on the side. So I don't really think I need to measure. I'm going to go ahead and just do like I did before. Put this around it. And since I forgot to use pop dots, this is going to be flat on the card. Okay. See how that looks. That looks pretty good. Okay, so we have that. It doesn't matter that some of the glue is sticking out because I'm going to add more glue to stick it down to this card. I definitely want to tape this whole inside piece. All right. Make sure I got my card opening the right way. And then I'm going to center it on my card. And as always, I'm going to hold these two corners and I'm going to line up this bottom and this top corner just to get it even on the card. These cards have a little bit of glitter fallout. They're not too bad. All right, so there we go. We have that card all set. And I might want to put some candy canes on this one just to make it a little bit different. I also have these. These candy canes are also Jolie's Boutique. They're from 2018. They may still then be available in the store. I don't know. I could put a couple of the red candy canes at the bottom. I could also use one of these sentiments and put at the top. I don't think I like it. I think that takes away from the glitter. I think I'll do 2 candy canes. They're all going the same direction if they're red. So maybe let me try a green one. I like candy canes going in the opposite direction. There. So we have a couple candy canes down at the bottom of that one, and we have the skaters. I think they're kind of cute. And on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and use the sentiment from the original card. There was a lot of writing in the other card, and I won't be able to get to the sentiment real well. And I think what I will do with this, I will cut the green off and I will mat it on some red cardstock and make a matching tag and give it as a gift with this. You've seen me make tags before, so I'm probably not going to do it on the video, but you'll get an idea. That's a really neat thing to do when you have a little bit left over. I have a sticky spot on my table and that glitter just migrated toward it. All right, so the next one is going to be a 5x7 card. I love that poinsettia. It's so pretty. I think it looks so good right in there. And for the 5x7, I already have a pre-made card back. And it's one of the ones I got from Pat Catan's in that big box. And it fits perfectly on there, except there's some extra room at the bottom. So we're going to have to get a little bit creative with that. And I have this gorgeous poinsettia that I think is going to look really, really good. So I want to do a couple things. The first one is I want to cut this card apart. Cut the back off. I love the sentiment of this one. I think it matches the front really well, so I'm going to use this sentiment instead of the one that came with the other cards. I'm going to see if I can get... I'm not going to be able to keep the words Merry Christmas because the signature is too close to it. But I love the way this matches. Okay, so I'll set that aside. And I have to determine how much of this card that I'm going to need to cut away. So I'm going to kind of line it up where I want it. Kind of center the poinsettia. And I think I'm upside down, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to make a mark. And I'm going to make a mark. Can I see my other mark? Yeah, I can see my mark. Barely, but I can see it. I'm going to cut a little in from the mark. I'll make it a little smaller than my mark. And the same thing with this mark. I'm going to cut and make it a little smaller. And I'm going to cut each edge off since it is about exactly the same size as that frame. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to put this down on this card, kind of where I want it. This is going to have to go right above it. I'm going to go ahead and mat this down to the card flat first. Because I have something I want to do that's really kind of cool. I'll put this down, make sure the card's opening the right way, kind of give it I'm barely going to set it down. I just want to double check, make sure I have it just about right. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, then I'm going to push that down. I have this beautiful ribbon that I thought would go really good, but it's a little big to go over this. So I'm going to go ahead and put the ribbon down and then put that over top. This ribbon, I was playing with it before, it doesn't fray, so I don't need to fold it over the back of the card. I do want to line it up with the bottom, and I want to check. I'm a little concerned. Okay, that'll work. All right, so I'm going to put tape on the back of this ribbon. Several lines of it, just so it sticks really well from edge to edge. I want to get the edge really good because I want the edge to seal down. Or the part that's going to be on the edge of the card. So I'm going to take my poinsettia flower and just lay it down on here with just a tiny bit of a green border on the bottom. And I'm going to push it down. Now I want to just try before I do anything, see how that's going to be. Yeah, that'll be okay. Perfect. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the ribbon off even with the card. And like I said, this ribbon doesn't fray very well. I guess that side frayed a little bit, but I don't think it really frays that much. So I think it's going to be okay. There we go. All right, so we have that. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this up on foam tape. Okay, now that I have all of the backing off, I'm going to take this. I'm going to turn it upside down just so I can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to line it up. Okay, there we go. So there we have that. And to bring the flower part up onto here, I have more of these little flowers, and I thought I would just maybe put one down here, maybe one up in this corner. Actually, I might do like I did on the other card. Put two, and then maybe two up in that top left corner. There. All right, so we have a couple flowers on there, and then we have the poinsettia. I don't want to put too much on there because, again, we're going to run into the thickness issue. There we go. So like I said, for this card, I want to put this on the inside. I'm going to need some red cardstock to mat it on. All right, well, I got this red construction paper, and I'm going to go ahead and mat it on here. For the construction paper, I'm going to go ahead and use this art glitter glue. I like to use a wet adhesive since the fibers of the paper sometimes come apart with the tape, but the glue will sink right into the fibers of the paper, and I won't have that problem. This is a big red pad of construction paper that I got at Hollow's Paper Craft, and it was like, I think it was $1.65 for a pad like that thick. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and trim that out. Kind of eyeball it a little bit here. I'm not really sure how much I love this paper trimmer because this guard is so thick and it's hard to cut. This guard of the paper trimmer is 2 inches and it's really hard to cut things that are smaller than 2 inches. So I'm not sure. I might end up just taking that guard off. I'm just finding that it's really in the way. I love the paper trimmer otherwise, especially for my videos, because it fits on the table really well. I'll go ahead and stick this down. There we go. So then that card's done. So then we made a few cards today. We have this one, and this one, and I will make a tag out of that. This is the one that opens using the original card. This one here I made onto a 5x7 card. And then there's this one I made onto an A2 size card. And I will get some red cardstock and probably, or maybe even green cardstock, and make a tag out of that. Well, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate all of you. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. Go check out my new Facebook group and come in and join us and share the projects that you're making. I'd love to have you there. Thanks again. I hope everybody has a wonderful day and go get crafting. Bye-bye.